devotion, dedication. Also, you know, she's got maybe she's too humble to say, too modest to say, but she's got a great fighting spirit, no doubt. You know, she's a warrior, goes out there and, you know, doesn't give a single game. Actually, she has probably the most bagels of anyone in women's tennis. It speaks about how seriously and professionally she's taking every single point and game on the court. So that's very admirable. I really like that kind of champion spirit and mindset.
No, yeah, I would be lying to you if I said I had no reservations. Obviously, you guys know like who I am and the things I speak about, and I was pretty much on almost every player call that I could make.
Line, ready to serve. They don't need to cheer. No one's talking to you. She's talking to me, okay? I haven't started. Your team is chanting. I'm too old for these mind games, okay?
One of the biggest controversies in women's tennis this year involves a dispute between Coco Gauff and Belinda Bencic that has taken an unexpected turn. What began as a small disagreement during a match quickly grew into something much bigger, catching the attention of tennis fans and players around the world. Now, tennis star Novak Djokovic has stepped in to publicly support Coco Gauff. The controversy started when Bencic accused Gauff of poor sportsmanship. However, her claims eventually fell apart, showing a different side to the story. With Djokovic now weighing in, this ongoing situation is getting even more attention. Let's look at what happened and what it could mean for both players going forward. Novak Djokovic firmly stated that Coco Gauff did nothing wrong during the match. He said that Coco was simply making sure every point was scored correctly. However, Belinda Bencic tried to make Coco look bad by falsely claiming she was in the wrong. Djokovic defended Coco, saying that Bencic's accusations about Gauff manipulating the referee were completely unfair. It appeared that Bencic was attacking Coco in an attempt to distract her and mess with her concentration during the game. Let's look at what was actually said during this tense exchange.
Coco responded, "There's nobody in the stadium. It's been so respectful. I treat your team with respect. We treat each other with respect. The ball was a drop shot winner."
Novak Djokovic's support for Coco Gauff was absolutely right, as she was the one being unfairly treated in this situation. What happened next was truly remarkable. Coco Gauff went on to beat Belinda Bencic in front of viewers around the world, showing incredible strength and mental toughness. Even though Bencic won the first set and looked like she had the upper hand, Coco stayed focused and didn't give up. As the match continued, Gauff honored her team and her hard work, completely turning things around. With fierce determination, she dominated the next two sets and won decisively. It was a powerful moment that reminded everyone never to underestimate a determined competitor. Coco Gauff didn't just let her playing do the talking, she also spoke out after the match. She made it clear that she had never been disrespectful to her opponent, but she also acknowledged the tension during the match. Gauff admitted that it would be dishonest to say Belinda's behavior didn't affect her. She understood exactly what Bencic was trying to do, get in her head and break her concentration. However, Coco made it clear that in the end, she gave Bencic exactly what she deserved, a lesson in resilience and staying focused under pressure.
No, yeah, I would be lying to you if I said I had no reservations. Obviously, you guys know like who I am and the things I speak about, and I was pretty much on almost every player call that I could make.
Coco Gauff's response on the court was perfectly balanced. She handled the situation with impressive maturity and calmness. Coco made it clear that she wouldn't say anything negative about Bencic or her team, choosing to show them respect. She stressed that respect should go both ways, and while she has the utmost respect for her own team, it's clear that the same level of respect isn't always shown by Bencic or other players. Despite facing difficulties and negativity, Coco continues to take the high road, keeping her dignity and staying focused on what really matters. Novak Djokovic pointed out that Coco Gauff's actions were never meant to attack anyone personally. Instead, they came from her strong, competitive spirit. He called Coco a warrior, someone who enters the court determined not to give her opponent any advantage, pushing them as hard as she can. Djokovic completely rejected Belinda's claims about Coco, suggesting that true competitors like her don't need to use such tactics. He made it clear that Coco's focus is always on the game and her desire to win, not on tearing down her opponents.
You know, devotion, dedication. Also, you know, she's got maybe she's too humble to say, too modest to say, but she's got a great fighting spirit, no doubt. You know, she's a warrior, goes out there and, you know, doesn't give a single game. Actually, she has probably the most bagels of anyone in women's tennis.
Novak's assessment was absolutely correct because Coco isn't afraid to stand up for herself, even during a match. A clear example of this happened during her U.S. Open match against Laura Siegemund, where it became obvious that the referee was making decisions that hurt Coco's chances. With questionable calls and what seemed like clear favoritism toward her opponent, the frustration grew. Instead of staying quiet, Coco directly confronted the referee, publicly questioning whether the decisions were fair. It was clear that the delayed calls were meant to throw her off her game. But Coco refused to back down. Her courage in speaking out against the unfairness didn't go unnoticed. The fans in the stands and the commentators all supported her, praising her for speaking up and calling attention to the unfair treatment. It was a powerful show of strength, and the overwhelming support from the crowd showed how much they respected and admired her determination. Coco didn't stop there. Once the referee was finally forced to call a violation on Siegemund, something that had only happened once out of 4 incidents, Coco made it clear that penalties needed to be applied fairly and consistently. She held the referee accountable, repeatedly questioning her decisions and demanding that the rules be enforced properly. Coco wasn't going to let it go. She made sure the referee understood she wouldn't back down until things were handled fairly. Her firm stance sent a strong message. Coco Gauff would always stand up for herself and demand fairness, no matter what obstacles she faced. As expected, what happened after the match was predictable. Laura Siegemund, clearly upset by her loss, broke down in tears during the press conference. She tried to portray herself as the victim, claiming that Coco had treated her unfairly. In an attempt to gain sympathy, Siegemund tried to change the narrative, even though Coco had already exposed the unfair behavior of both her and the referee, both during and after the match. However, the truth was obvious to everyone who saw Coco's courageous stand for fairness.
It's the first time I'm crying in a press conference. As a tennis player, you are a performer. You owe the people. You owe the kids that watch. And I'm just a bit, I mean, at the end of the day, I go home and I can look at myself and I can say, I did a great job.
Throughout this controversy, Novak Djokovic has once again shown why he is considered one of the greatest players in tennis history. By looking beyond the surface drama and seeing through the misleading narrative surrounding the situation, he demonstrated the kind of clarity and wisdom that only a true champion has. While many people got caught up in the story that Belinda Bencic tried to create, Djokovic stayed focused on the truth. He recognized that Coco Gauff wasn't the problem. Instead, she was being treated unfairly and wrongly portrayed in a negative light. Djokovic's strong support for Coco sent a powerful message, not only about his respect for her as a player, but also about his dedication to fairness and integrity in the sport. In a world where media stories can be twisted and pressure can force players to pick sides, Djokovic stood firm, refusing to be influenced by false accusations. His words provided important validation for Coco, confirming that her actions on the court came from her strong competitive spirit and desire for fairness, not from any bad intentions. As a result of this support, Coco Gauff's standing has been strengthened while Belinda Bencic is now facing significant pressure. The tennis world is watching closely, and the truth has come out. Coco's strength both on and off the court has earned her respect from not just fans, but also her fellow players. In the end, Djokovic's involvement has emphasized the importance of standing up for what's right, ensuring that the truth wins out, and reminding everyone that in the world of tennis, justice should always be the ultimate victor. What do you think about Novak Djokovic's support for Coco Gauff in this controversy? Do you believe his perspective helped reveal the truth of the situation? How do you feel about Belinda Bencic's actions and the pressure she's now facing? Do you think Coco Gauff's response on and off the court sets an important example for other athletes, especially in standing up against unfair treatment in sports? Let us know your thoughts. Do you agree with Djokovic, or do you have a different view on the whole situation? We'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below.